What am I doing here? What's my purpose? Am I just a result of just unplanned, boom, 4.5 billion years ago, nothing became something, and the something blew up and became everything without any direction, no plan, no nothing. And that became crazy to me. 200 times a second, 200 times every second, someone is typing in a search engine, is God real on this planet? People are seeking. People want to know, right? They want to know, is God real? And Lee Strobel, he once said, well, there are two most questions that people ask on search engines about God is, number one, why do you allow bad things to happen? And number two, if you're God, are you hiding? Are you hiding? Where are you? Can you just pop up and show yourself? And Romans chapter 1 says, because of the beauty of our creation, we're without excuse, right? We're without excuse because of everything that he made. And look, even if he did show up and say, all of a sudden across the sky, hey, I'm here, I'm God and I'm here. Would we even sometimes believe that? We'd be like, oh, that's government chemtrails. That's an optical illusion, So that's not even always a given. But we long to find out our purpose, right? We want to know why we're here. What's our purpose? Are we just meaningless, mindless? Or did God create us for a reason and for a purpose? Well, a Nobel Prize-winning scientist could analyze that cake and tell you everything that's in that cake in terms of chemicals, right? Mm-hmm. But he can't tell you why that cake was made. But guess who can? Your grandma who made that cake for you. She can tell you. So science and God are very compatible. You can analyze the science and the chemistry of something, and God gives us the why and the how. And I think that's really pretty cool. So we know basically that God created us to be basically his image, right? We are his likeness. We're his image. But according to atheistic evolutionists, what happened? I mentioned it earlier. No plan, no governance. We had a little tiny speck of something that magically came from nothing, and it blew up and became everything. Blew up, and that's our Big Bang. 4.5 billion years ago is what they're estimating. No plan. We weren't planned. We weren't guided. We weren't purposed. Well, if you believe that, we didn't have a plan, we're not guided, we don't have a purpose, there's no God, we just are, then you have to deal with the implications. You know what that means? Nothing matters, right? Does it really matter? Do we have any matter if there's no God that's purposed us? We just are, we just exist, and then we die. And then that's it. And the nature doesn't care. Science doesn't care. Astronomy doesn't care. You could be discriminated against. You could be betrayed. You could be assassinated. Nature don't care. You could step on a mosquito and kill him. Or that mosquito could bite you, give you malaria, and you die. And you know what nature says? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if the mosquito died or doesn't matter if you died. You're part of nature. And that's crazy. If the entire human race goes extinct, what happens to consciousness? It goes extinct with it, right? If there's no God, then all this consciousness that we think in our brains is gone with us, and there's nothing left. In fact, scientists tell us in about 1.3 billion years, the sun will be expanding, because it's starting to expand. It will expand enough to where it could reach us and burn us alive. So in 1.3 billion years, I need y'all to be ready and prepare for that, all right? If anybody's around then. Here's a popular example for science. Given enough time, here's what science says. Given enough time, anything can happen. We all form. Just give it time. Well, let's say, given enough time, a computer can build itself. How crazy is that, right? A computer can build itself. All you got to do is just give it enough time. It's got the processor, it's got the mouse, it's got the display, everything working in complete harmony. All you have to do is just give it time. Here's the problem with the atheistic view of evolution from that. Number one, all right, who made the parts to begin with? That just came together over 4 billion years. Who made those parts? Number two, if I had this computer, how did it give birth to another computer? Can that computer give birth? But we keep going, right? We spread more people with complexity. That is just that. Number three, what if I took a hammer and smashed it? What if you took a hammer and smashed your friend's knee and you break it? Guess what? It heals. You go, you put a cast on it, it heals. All the medicine, sometimes you just have to keep it still and it heals. If I smash that computer, how long will it take for the computer to heal itself and start working again? Never. And it's so complex. You had a bunch of parts, and all of a sudden it became complex over time. It's like it went from chaos to complex. Now, scientists also have a theory called the infinite monkey theory. You know what that says? If you give a monkey enough time, and he types one letter a second, if you give it enough time, eventually they could type the entire works of Shakespeare. That's called the infinite monkey theory. And that's given enough time. But big problem. Scientists and mathematicians in Australia just came out with a major groundbreaking study. And they said, that's impossible. It's mathematically not possible in 4.5 billion years. In fact, if a monkey types one letter per second his entire life, the chance that he could form the word bananas is only 5%. Just that one word. I chip, therefore I am. Let's say you gave him enough time to do that. You know how much time it would take? 1 in 10 million billion years. Just for that. Now imagine the complexity of the universe and the human body. And you could do that in 4.5 billion years? Like atheists say possibly could happen? It's almost like when scientists come up to God, God tells them just like he told Job. Remember when Job was having a problem and God said, where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? You know, and sometimes that puts me in my place, right? If I want to start thinking, oh, we can figure this out. Oh, I can do this science. Yeah, we don't need God anymore. And one scientist once said, now that we have the microscope and the telescope, we don't need God anymore. And I love the quote from a professor of mathematics at Oxford, John Lennox. He said, that's crazy. That's like saying if I put a microscope up to a Rembrandt painting, that will deny the existence of Rembrandt. Just absolutely crazy. So what does space have to do with all this? This is the first 7 astronauts the U.S. had. This is called the Mercury 7. There's a movie about them called The Right Stuff. The guy on the top left is the first American to go into space. His name is Alan Shepard. The guy right here is John Glenn. He's the first American to orbit the Earth. In fact, in 1998, he went back again into space at the age of 77. The oldest person to go back into space at that time. He just died 10 years ago. He was the last of the remaining, what we call the Mercury 7 astronauts. Gus Grissom, in the middle here, was a faithful member of the Church of Christ for many, many years, until his death. Unfortunately, he tragically died in Apollo 1 when the capsule caught fire on the ground. and it killed all 3 astronauts in the capsule. That was probably one of the biggest tragedies of NASA. But they have the right stuff, right? But what a lot of people don't know, they had a deep sense of awe with God when they went into space. In fact, John Glenn, he once said, to look out at this kind of creation out here and not believe in God is, to me, impossible. Gordon Cooper, top right, he went in space and he recited the Lord's Prayer in space, and it's transmitted down to Earth. You can actually go on YouTube and listen to that. Frank Borman, James Lovell, they were the first to go to the moon but not land on it. On Christmas Eve, they gave a Christmas dedication from the moon, orbiting the moon, and they did Genesis chapter 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and they recited it on a voice recorder while they were at the moon, and it was transmitted back to Earth, and we still have that today. You can go on YouTube and listen to that. So, and Buzz Aldrin, he took communion. Buzz Aldrin took communion up in space. So astronauts had a deep sense of awe with what they saw up there, right? So, I'm going to do something for you. I'm going to demonstrate a little bit of the awe of our universe. Okay? See this? All right, tennis ball, right? Now, pretend my hand doesn't move, okay? But I'm going to drop it and I'm going to catch it. Ready? Watch this. This is awesome. Thank you. Now, what did I just do? I dropped it and I caught it. Let's pretend my hand didn't move. Did I catch it in the same spot I dropped it? All right, let's pretend it went right back and my hand didn't move. All right, it's right there. Did I catch it in the same spot? Yeah. The answer is yes. And
no.
The answer is no.
Yeah, I was going to say no because it looked completely different. Like you had to catch a bit.
Well, we're pretending my hand was stuck and it kind of went back. Okay. But yeah, technically right. Why? Do you know why? Because right now, at our latitude, Earth is spinning. And with our latitude right here in Atlanta, Georgia, we're spinning at 850 miles per hour. So when I dropped this tennis ball, I caught it a quarter of a mile down from where I dropped it.
Wow.
Isn't that freaky? Because we're spinning. We're spinning. I drop it and I caught it a quarter mile. If someone's rising above Earth and watching it spin and they could see me, they will say, oh, you caught it a quarter of a mile away from where you dropped it. That's freaky, isn't it? Mm-hmm. But I'm not done. What if someone goes up above the whole solar system, where the sun and our planets are, and they watch me do this? I dropped it, and I caught it. Our Earth is rotating around the sun at 67,000 miles per hour right now. So I caught this tennis ball 18 miles away from where I dropped it. Y'all get that?
Yeah.
I drop it. We were 18 miles down when I caught it in that 1 second. We're flying, aren't we? That's not all. Now pull yourself, and that's the solar system. Now pull yourself above our entire galaxy. And by the way, our entire galaxy has somewhere between 200 to 400 billion suns. And our whole solar system is just one. Now, if someone rises above there and sees me drop this, in 1 second, we are traveling approximately 140 miles per second spinning around the galaxy. So our whole solar system is going 140 miles in 1 second. So I dropped this tennis ball and I caught it 140 miles away from where I dropped it. But wait.
That's another state.
But wait, that's another state.
Yeah.
But wait, What if you were to rise above that whole galaxy and watch our whole galaxy moving? Our whole galaxy is moving 375 miles per second. Isn't this staggering? This is crazy numbers, isn't it? I dropped this ball and I caught it 375 miles away.
Wow.
Now, so if a cop stops you for speeding, you could be a real smart aleck and tell him how fast you're really going, but you'd get in trouble for that. So are you dizzy yet? Well, I'm going to show you a little bit of a demonstration, giving you an idea of how big the solar system and the universe is and how small we are. All right? Let's say you hop in a car. All right? And I want to, let's hop in a car, and I want to go around the equator of the Earth, all the way around back to the starting point. No hills, no curves. You could just go straight. So if we got in a car, 70 miles per hour, let's do the speed limit. 70 miles per hour, you know how long it would take us to return back where we are? 15 days. If we pointed the car towards the moon and we drove 70 miles per hour towards the moon, 5 months. Now, if we went to Mars, all right, you're in a car, 70 miles per hour, you're driving to Mars. How long would it take you to get there? At its closest point to us. 63 years.
Wow.
63 years driving at 70 miles per hour in your car. It will take you 63 years to get to Mars.
You're never getting there.
You're never getting there. That's a lifetime. Now, but I want to go further. I want to go to the furthest planet. We're still in the solar system. But I want to go to the furthest planet, Neptune. All right? You know how long it would take you to get to Neptune? If you drove 70 miles per hour, how long would it take you to get to Neptune? 4,400 years. And that's just our solar system. That's one star and 8 planets.
And you know, because I know, like, the planets, like, they're, like, every year, they're, like, slowly moving closer to the sun.
A little bit of gravity, like talking inches, you know, it's like very
Yeah.
small, but yeah.
So, like, imagine, like, though, when, like, Neptune gets close enough to the sun, it'd probably be, like, years.
Like millions.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would take a long time. So you see how big the solar system is? Now, let's say we want to go further. I want to go further than that, because when I look up in the night sky, if we're not in downtown Atlanta, if we go out in the country or something, you look up in the night sky, you see a whole bunch of stars up there, right? So if we did that, and I wanted to drive out, we've got to use bigger numbers, faster numbers. So does anybody know, off the top of their head, what the speed of light is? How fast does light travel? It's fast.
Millisecond?
You ready for this? Light travels 186,000 miles per second. That's how fast the speed of light is. So, 186,000 miles per second. In 1 second, if I shot light around the Earth, it would go around the Earth 7.5 times in 1 second. If I took that beam of light and shot it at the sun, do you know how long that light would take to get to the sun traveling that fast? 8 minutes. 8 minutes. The light from the sun that you see, when you go out and you see the sun, but don't look directly at it. If you see the sun, you're seeing the sun 8 minutes ago, because that's how long the light takes to get to your eyes. If the sun were to suddenly just disappear, we would not know it for 8 minutes. But then after that 8 minutes, there'd be total chaos. That wouldn't be good. Well, let's go further then. All right, it's going to be 8 minutes to get to the sun if I travel that fast. You want to travel to the next closest star to us out of the billions in the universe? The next closest one is a star system with Proxima Centauri. That's the name of the star. If it takes light 8 minutes to get to the sun, the next closest star going that fast, 4.3 years.
Wow.
Why did it long? I thought it was short.
It will take you 4.3 years to get to the closest star in space.
At the speed of light.
Going at that speed. Now let's say, I'll get you a second. Let's say, all right, well, I'm going to get in a car and I'm going to travel 60 miles per hour. Let's hop in a car. Let's go 60 miles per hour and let's travel to that nearest star. When you look in the sky and see all the stars, the closest one to us, besides the sun, you know how long it would take you in that car? You better stop at Buc-ee's. You know how long it's going to take you? 48 million years. That's 685,000 lifetimes. You could be born, live a full life, and die 685,000 times in a row before you got to that star. Are you guys, it's unbelievable to comprehend. And that's the closest one. The closest one in the sky. And that's just amazing. So we saw how far Neptune was. But then when we look at where we are in the galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, we're just a small, tiny, tiny blip. And the next closest star, 48 million years to get to the next closest star, which is pretty close to it right there. Forget all these others. That'll take forever. And forget all the other galaxies. Yeah.
So, you know how at night you see the stars? So, if they're so far, how can we see them?
Because they're so bright and they're so massively brilliant. They send out so much light. And what they're doing is that it's kind of a thermal fusion with hydrogen and helium, and it makes so much light that in a real dark sky, you can see them way, 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 way far away. Now, you get in the city and you get light pollution and all that, and it makes it a lot harder.
And there's nothing in between those, there's a void that won't block it out.
Right, but I got a cool picture I'm gonna show you in a second. So let's.
And I was like gonna say something about like the whole spec thing comment that you made, because it's funny. The other day I was watching Horton Hears the Who, and I think it was really like similar to just our way of life.
Or that little tiny speck.
Yeah, even if like you think that there's like that we're bigger, and then that it just gets there.
Yeah, a person is a person, no matter how small.
Yeah.
Isn't that what they say in the movie? A person is a person, no matter how small. Let's take our sun. By the way, let's pretend this is the sun. We're scaling the sun down to a golf ball. Do you know how many Earths can fit inside the sun? Do you know how many Earths?
400?
5,000.
How many Earths can fit inside the sun? 1.3 million.
Dang, you were
Well, you were close. 1.3 million. That's how big the sun is. Now let's condense the sun down to this size. If we condense the sun to this size, how far away is the Earth? The Earth is about 12 feet away, and it's a pebble. It's like a grain of sand. It's like a grain of sand. Now, Neptune would be outside the property of this building and beyond into the woods. That's how far away Neptune is in our solar system. So if you look at that, just our own Neptune would be out in the woods. Guess where the next closest star would be? The next closest star, Proxima Centauri, would be if the sun were this big. You know how far away it would be? It would be past Chicago. It would be past Chicago, Illinois, getting up close to Wisconsin. That's how far away the next closest star is. So you guys have a sense of how big the universe is? When everything's so big and far away. Unbelievable. Now, let's just say the solar system, all right? The sun all the way to Neptune, we're as big as this quarter. Let's say that's the solar system. See it? Now, if we did that, do you know how big our galaxy is? If it were this big, if our solar system were this big, from the sun all the way to Neptune, our galaxy alone, the Milky Way galaxy, would be as big as the United States and Canada together. Just our galaxy. Now, here's the moon. Here's how God's amazing. That moon is perfect for us. It provides light, in the night sky. It controls the tides. It keeps us from wobbling due to its gravity. Isn't that cool? Earth, 93 million miles away from the sun. It's perfect. If we were a little closer, what would happen? Burn up. If we were a little further away, what would happen?
Move it to cold.
Ice age. We're tilted at 23.5 degrees. Perfect tilt, right? That gives us our seasons. What if we weren't tilted? We wouldn't have seasons. All the temperatures would be out of whack. Plants, animals, all would be out of whack. We're in the perfect zone, the perfect distance, at the perfect angle, rotating at the perfect time with gravity. We're not slinging off into space, and we're not collapsing into the sun. Doesn't that sound like design to you? Mm-hmm. Incredible design. And the sun, its core temperature is 27 million degrees Fahrenheit. You ever been that hot? You wouldn't know it if you were. You'd be gone. But the sun is massive, and the gravity is keeping us intact, so we're not slinging off. It's the perfect gravity. Its magnetic field protects us from radiation. It's perfect. The earth is perfect. The moon's perfect. The sun is perfect. What a great place for life. How many stars in the sky? Well, this is a gentleman by the name of Hipparchus, ancient history. He decided he was going to catalog the stars. You know how many he found? He counted them. And he found, I think we've got 850. 850 stars, just what he could see. And that was pretty good for the human eye to see that many stars. So he calculated. Yale University did an entire map of all the stars that are visible from Earth, visible to the human eye. And what they came out with from all over the Earth, it was 9,096 stars that we can see. Now, we're only on one half, so we can't see below us, right? So you cut that in half, take out light pollution, the atmosphere, and probably somewhere between 2,000 to 3,000 stars on a really dark night is what we can see. So we're thinking, well, that's a lot of stars, right? That's a lot of stars. However, we sent a telescope up into space called Hubble.
Huh?
And you heard of the Hubble telescope? Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Yeah.
It was a telescope we sent into space to take pictures so the atmosphere wasn't in the way. Here's what it did. If I took this tennis ball and threw it 300 feet in the air, 300 feet in the air, at that point, Hubble took a picture in space that size and said, hey, we're going to take a picture of that small spot. Do you know what it found? All of that in the size of a tennis ball 300 feet in the air. It took that picture. And when you mentioned it's a void, because when we look up, it's just mostly dark, right? We don't see anything. That's all dark to us. We see nothing. But this Hubble telescope took that picture. Do you know what those are?
Solar
No.
system,
Galaxies?
universes.
Entire galaxies. All of
Stars are
those
galaxies?
are individual
No,
galaxies of
galaxies
billions of
are
stars in
made
each
up of
one.
Other,
Isn't that incredible?
Just like planets, right? Like galaxies are planets, right?
No, galaxies are massive collections of billions of stars and planets. A massive
okay.
collection.
So they
Like
just broken down and just.
they're all
open.
collapsed together in different ways.
So how we get that?
But look at that. This is the James Webb telescope, another telescope we sent back up. And this one took this is the size of a grain of sand. If you took a grain of sand and held it up at the night sky, just right there, where there's nothing, just a grain of sand, that's the picture it took. All galaxies. Except for, I think they had a star or two. These are in our Milky Way. They kind of got in the way a little bit. But most all of those are galaxies. Do you get a sense of how big you are? And how small we are? Crazy, huh? So what does the Bible say?
That means your life basically equivalent to nothing because it's just like a small speck.
We are a small little bit of nothing. And we'll wrap up in a couple of minutes. But God knows how limitless the stars are. Remember? 1,000 years ago, we were thinking, there's 800 stars. Then we have that James Webb telescope. And we can see they're countless. Well, God knew that was the case. God knows it's countless. In fact, God knows each star. He determines the number of the stars and calls them each by name. Psalm 147, verse 4. Isn't that crazy?
How many names can you think of?
There's a lot. There's a star catalog. You can actually pay money and go onto the star catalog website, and you can actually have a star named after someone you know or love. You can actually name a star officially, and it will go in the official catalog.
That's crazy.
And then they'll even send you a plaque and stuff. Of course, they make money off of it a little bit, but you could get a plaque with the name of the star and everything, and you could present that to your friend that they have an official star named. And really, it's limitless because there's so many stars, anybody can do it. They're not going to run out of stars
That's right.
anytime soon. They're countless. I'm going to wrap up with a cool story.
Oh, look. I got one more question.
Yeah.
Look, is God human?
Is God what?
Like, is he?
No, but he took on human form in the form of his son 2,000 years ago. And that's what's cool about God.
2000.
God is not some kind of, he's this nebulous something that can't understand what we're going through. He doesn't know what it's like to be a human.
20 means
We're here having our problems, right?
2026.
But 2,000 years ago, he took on the form of a human and lived on this earth. And he oftentimes went without food. He was beaten. He was rejected, betrayed. He was killed. And he did so willingly without a single sin. Isn't that cool? So he knows what we're going through.
And can I say something? I feel like when people say, we're all God's children or God is in you, I feel like that like kind of just goes to show, I feel like God, he's not really like a thing where you can see he's like everywhere. He's the trees, he's the water, I feel like it's like more a spiritual thing.
God is everywhere, but there's a limitation in the Bible. It says he can't be where sin is. So that's interesting. He is light. If there's darkness, he chooses not to be where there's darkness, right? But God's light. And all we have to choose is to embrace him. He's right there with us. He wants us to come to him, right? Right? He wants us to come to him, but he's not going to force you to come to him. And that's the thing. He's not going to force us. He wants us free will, right? He wants us to have free will, to choose. Otherwise, if he just forces us, we're just robots, right? We're just robots. All right, here's a cool story. You ready for this? I'm going to wrap it up. The year was 1977. NASA launched a probe called Voyager 1, and there it is. They launched this in 1977. It is still flying through space right now. It is currently almost 16 billion with a B, miles away from us. And it's moving away. In fact, just in the last couple of years, it actually passed through the solar system. So it is now what we call in interstellar space. This is the furthest man-made object from us that has ever been created.
How fast is it traveling per hour?
That picture was taken in space.
Now this is actually an artist's rendition. Yeah, there's no cameras out in space cameraing it. It's by itself alone, flying in interstellar space. But we have pictures of it because we built it, and obviously, and we attached it to a rocket and sent it out. I want to say it's 38,000 miles per hour. Right now, it's flying in interstellar space. It's gone. It's flying out there. It's got instruments to check light. It's to check radiation, UV, all that kind of stuff. But over the years, some of them have been malfunctioning and breaking down, and we expected that because this was 1977. We're actually amazed. We're still getting some stuff back from it. But it takes a long time to get here. In fact, when it sends a report to us, we don't get it for just about a day. It takes a day for when it sends to when it actually reaches us. It's that far out. Wow. In fact, I think it's either October, I believe, or November, it's going to reach a milestone. It will be one light day away from us. We've never had anything that one light day. Remember we were talking light years earlier? 4.3 light years to get to the next closest star. That's one light day away from us. And that's been traveling at that speed since 1977. In that, there is what's called a golden record. It's actually a record like you play a record player. And scientists put it there in case some extraterrestrial life found it. It has instructions on how to play it. And if you played it, there's a whole bunch of stuff on it. Like there's a greeting in 55 languages. There's the sound of a baby crying, the sound of thunder. There's a whale song. There's human laughter. There's even a greeting. Right now, if some extraterrestrial were to find this, there is a greeting on that record from the President of the United States, Jimmy Carter. That's called the Golden Record. But here's what happened. 1990, okay, it launched in 1977. 1990, they said, one of the scientists said, can you turn that around and take a picture back where it came, our direction? And it did. And it created one of the greatest pictures in the history of science and astronomy.
Wait, what?
You ready for this? I got the picture. So in 1990, 4 billion miles away, now it's 16 billion, right? 4 billion miles away, shooting through the solar system, it turned around, turned back, and it took a picture. You ready for this picture? Boom! Whoa!
That's crazy.
How cool
What's
is
that
that?
dot? What's that dot?
How cool is that, huh? Everybody's going, what? What? Are you kidding me? That's one of the greatest photographs ever taken. You know why? On the surface, that's weird. These are light reflections off the sun. Who said that dot? Who said that dot?
Me.
They said it was no light in space.
Right there just happened. And it took chance. It took some chance. In the sunlight, in the beam of that reflected sunlight, it showed up a white dot. Does anybody know what that is?
Our solar system.
Earth.
Crazy.
Our planet. A picture 4 billion miles away.
And it kind of looks like there's
It's
light
shining?
reflecting on
The
it. Yeah.
furthest away any picture has ever been made of us. And there we are on that dot. Well, yeah, a lot of you weren't born then, but 1990. Here it is close up.
Just imagine you wake up and she's
4 billion miles away. It caught that by chance. Incredible. Astronomer Carl Sagan said this. He was so moved by this picture, he wrote an entire book called The Pale Blue Dot, talking about this pale, little, tiny blue dot. And he said this, consider that dot. Consider that dot. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you've ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives. Our joy and our suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, doctrines, every hunter, every forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and every peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor, explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there on a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. So, do you see how little we are? That everything we've ever known and loved is in that speck and has ever lived on this earth. That speck is us. But here is where it doesn't end. If you think you're small, read Romans. We're tiny, but God loved each and every one of us, that he sent Jesus down to this earth to die for you and for me. So the creator of everything we just witnessed and looked at, the creator who knows every star, also knows every hair on your head and loves you and sent his son to die for you. How cool is that? That's a God who lets us know we're really small, but then lets us know how big. So big, he stretched out his arms and died on the cross for us. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thanks for your attention. I hope this puts you in a perspective to see, you know what? We're tiny. We're little on this speck. But God loved us so much. He gave his son for us. He's a great and glorious God. And he loves you so much. Thank you guys.
You did good.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, we got just a few minutes left. Let's use that time, Michael, if you wouldn't mind. Any questions that you want to run through Michael before we leave?
Yeah, anybody got any questions?
After in the presentation?
Yeah.
No. How did you get all the information?
So I have a love of science. I went to med school and became an eye doctor, and so being a doctor, I love science, so I just study a lot of it. Then I look it up, and being a lover of the Bible and God, I had to deal with my own kind of, is God real?
All your doubt?
Because you get doubts, and it's okay to have doubts, but you don't
also
stay
gotta
there.
trust in the
You don't.
Lord.
Yeah, you got to trust in Him. You don't stay in those doubts. You move forward from those doubts, and that's what I did. And when I did, I realized, man, His evidence is out there. He's amazing. Yeah.
What's your idea on like Scientology as a religion altogether?
I've read some on Scientology. It takes some crazy stuff. So if it's not following biblical principles, if it's adding to the Bible, remember the Bible says, "Don't add to the Bible, or we will add to you the plagues."
Yeah.
I don't like when people add. I'm like, well, where's your source? Where's your information? If it's not, does the Bible say it? Where does it say it? And let's find out what God says. You can always test things by going back to God. There's a verse in 1 John, one of the letters to John that John wrote. He said, "Brethren, do not believe every spirit, but test them to see whether they're from God." Right? So this is a lot of testing here in science. And when I test it, I'm like, I feel like Isaac Newton. The more you find stuff, you're like, man, I'm just drawn closer to God the more I find out, because this is amazing. It's incredible.
And they'll say I'll have like the stuff that we eventually like find out and learn. It'll have that stuff in the Bible and it'll be
Yeah. And when I see that stuff, it draws me closer, not further away. Some people choose to draw further away because they say, "Oh, we know more now. We can figure it out by science." But just like that cake, you can figure what's in the cake, but you can't figure out why. But God made the cake; He can tell you.
Yeah.
So yeah, good point.
It's interesting that wasn't there a Russian scientist or astronaut that went out and said, "I didn't see God out there" when he went up in space?
Oh, was that Yuri Gagarin? That was the first astronaut in space. He was a Russian. I think it was him, but I'll research that. We're one of them. But then you've got other people like Ed White. Ed White was the first American to walk in space. Have you seen some of these space programs where they're in this suit and they're out there hovering, tethered by a rope?
It's not walking.
Yeah, so they call it a spacewalk, but it's not kind of really. Ed White was the first American to do that. You know what he said? He said when he was out there, he felt the presence of God. I think that was neat.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. It's like God's someone that you're supposed to see, like when you get underwater or in space or something, or is it just like
It's he was so amazed by looking at the earth below him as this sphere, and he's floating above it.
Yeah,
you had your hand up? Yes, go for it.
How you gonna say?
He said, "Oh, light in space."
How is there light in space? Well, because we can see light from all the stars. So light travels through space. Now, without the light, there'd be darkness, right? If we took all the stars and extinguished them, guess what? Total blackness.
But I thought
And we would freeze.
I thought the astronaut dude said when he went up there he couldn't see no stars.
Yeah, they could. Actually, there was a running myth, and it's still to this day, that when they see pictures of man on the moon, have you seen a picture like a man on the moon with his astronaut, there's the flag, and above him there's a black sky, and you're like, well, where are all the stars? And so some people say, oh, then that means it's fake. But in reality, when you're taking a camera shot on the moon, and your aperture keeps the light out so it doesn't come out. So it's actually simple optics. as to why those stars don't show up in an aperture of a camera shot. But the actual astronauts said it was brilliant. They said it was brilliant. Now, when the sun comes beaming at you, the sun filters out all the stars around you. That's why we get night versus day, right? How many stars can you see in the middle of the day with the sun up high? None. Right? Because the sun is too brilliant. But when it's on the other side of the earth, now we're going away. We're looking away from the sun and we can see all the other stars.
I was gonna say though, I can imagine like being up there, but like, wouldn't there be just a lot of rocks?
On the moon?
There? Yeah, no, and yeah, in space in general, you know?
Oh no, almost all of space is empty void.
Oh.
Yeah, so when you see these movies where they're going through asteroid fields and stuff, and there's millions of them flying, that's not really what it is. They're really spaced far apart. It's mostly void. In fact, if you take the entire mass of our solar system, the mass, like actual mass, the sun and all the planets, the asteroids, the dwarf planets, all that, the sun makes up 99.8% of the mass of the solar system. It's almost the entire mass of the solar system. So compare that to everything else and you could see how void, even in our own solar system. Yeah, good question.
You know, David, I think, said in relation to the temple, he said that, will God indeed dwell on the earth? Behold, the heavens and the heaven of heavens cannot contain him, how much less this house that I have built it. In other words, what I get out of that is God is not somewhere in the universe is somewhere inside of God.
God exists
big.
outside of time and space. That's why scientists will tell you, well, who invented God? When was God born? And the answer? God is outside of our space and time. We can't comprehend. It's not a space thing to him. It's a clock hour. All right, 4.5 billion years ago, we have clock hours. God exists outside of all that. That's why he's God. So he can do that. I think it's far greater crazy to think that nothing formed something and it blew up and became everything, including all of us sitting here talking. You want to know to me, one of the greatest proofs of the existence of God? That we're sitting here talking to each other, communicating with conscience and a mind. I think that to me is amazing.
Are you going to ever cover black holes?
So a black hole is where the final death of a star.
This is the last question.
Yeah, the star dies and it collapses into a black hole. And a black hole is such a powerful gravity force that even light can't escape a black hole. And that's why it's really cool. Fortunately, we don't have any near us, or else we'd be doomed.
Yeah.
But black holes are so powerful that light cannot even escape it. Wow. Yeah, they're awesome.
All right. Michael, would you mind closing us out?